common to everyone, because each infection problem is all the group, all the patients, the jet costs. Hello, mic check. Hello, hello. Hello, mic check. Hello, hello, mic check. Hello, mic check. Mic check. I think let's start. You know what we start?
ये दो बोतल भरने पानी पानी नहीं है।
Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Sharma, Organizing Secretary for the International Short-Term Training Program 9, with a chosen topic on economic coalition and self-reliant human water and the World Environment Day celebration week, which is happening from 5th to 11th June 2023 under Component 8, enhancing quality and excellence to solving .0 and state and state project trade audit regulation government of Rajasthan, India, which is duly being organized by Rajasthan Government Autonomous College, Alpha, which is from this IRC, deciding from this. Without taking much of the time and without wasting much of the time, because we always kind of. So, our Saraswati Dhyana Council Masters stating from that this time the World Economic Day is selling plastic. So it's the reminder that people actions on plastic pollution matters. The staff, government, and the business are taking to tackle plastic pollution and other plastic. So let's say plastic. So without taking much of time, our first speaker, and let me introduce to you all my other speaker. Dr. Prakash Mehra. Prakash Mehra is a state coordinator at Rajasthan for CIMOR, ICRA, and Eastern Continental World Agroforestry, Rajasthan Agriculture Research Institute, SANAU, Durga Ranjan, Rajasthan. सर आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका अभिनंदन बहुत हर्षित है उल्लासित है हम आपको अपने बीच बात करें. So without taking much of the time, I would request Dr. Prakash Mehra to bring this to us. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, ma'am. And once again, it is very nice to see you. And I'm extremely sorry that I could not able to join you, in past programs due to hectic schedules and movement in the field. still the plantation work and biodiversity park work is going on, and I especially requested that just give me just hour to complete my lecture, because already I committed to you, and outside the whole team is waiting. So after an hour, I will join again the program there. So thank you very much, and as already mentioned about the theme here. So as usual, I won't be giving very technical sessions here. Madam, I think something is echoing. I don't know whether you're getting my voice clear or not. Yeah, hello. Yes. So what I will be sharing here are the successful examples of how to cope up the modern world challenges. And I can see a lot of participations, and mostly I think from the academic domain. So you all are working with the book knowledge and a lot of good literatures and academic journals, everything going on, and even conducting a lot of research. Here, my presentation will not give you, that particular data, the statistical data, or something like which we generally present in our papers. So I'm sorry to say, but I don't know whether what are the points from your side. It is a matter of debate that I'm little bit away from the academic pollution. So I don't want to create that pollution. So that's why a simple sensitization which can achieve what actually our environmental day or day-to-day programs on the awareness could make us do practically in the field. And that's what I expect from the academic world, because you are shaping and transforming the youth who are making the future. And if they are really learning how to give their contributions, there is nothing not too difficult to work in this particular field. The only thing is that let's revive our natural principles. What the mother nature says, that is the point which we have to keep in the mind. Although science is a very new approach, but I feel that Vijnana is something like 1,000 years old. The pure and applied knowledge which was imparted by our ancestors, and age-old traditional values which were having the completely the eco-compatibility. And today, whatever the challenges we are facing, that is somehow because we are away from the such type of approaches. So, and this is not only I'm talking about the India, but my experience with other continents also, even in Africa or Europe, that everyone has got the indigenous cultures, indigenous approaches. But unfortunately, or I don't know, I'm using the correct word or not, again, it is debatable, that due to this globalization, although we are learning a lot of things, but somehow the local approaches are completely, I will use again the negative term, manipulated, mixed with the foreign or exotic type of principles or something like mechanism. So what we are losing is that we are neither towards our eco-compatible heritage, working on that, and neither on actually what the modern world needs. So we are hung in between, and that is why we are facing all these challenges. So very quickly, ma'am, before I start my slideshow, just tell me how much time I had with me. Ma'am? Okay, you can stop me.
No, you please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I will be just presenting my slideshow here. And if anyone has any question, I will try my best that last 10-15 minutes could be, have the discussions on the aspect. And I am ready, whatever I know, whatever I learned, basically. This is whatever I'm presenting here is experience-based approaches. Right now, I'm with World Agroforestry, what Madam already mentioned. World Agroforestry, I think you all know CIFOR, the headquarters, Central Institute for Forestry Research, that is the headquarters is in Indonesia. as well as the ICRAF, International Center for Research and Agroforestry, and that is in Nairobi. So they are merged, and now today it is World Agroforestry. So I am leading the program of Asia Continental Program of TOF, Tree Outside Forest. So here in Rajasthan, our approach is just not only in Rajasthan, but throughout Asia. What we are doing is that we have to increase the green cover. But that green cover is not merely the plantation activities which are taking place, because we all know that simply planting the sapling is something like whatever it is going on from last 20 years. So here, the approach is completely different. What we did is that we simply assessed and surveyed that how we can work in this direction to get or to see something like indigenous varieties which could be planted and which could be, worked out with the farmers, and that should be demand driven. Means what the why we are taking farmers here is something like farmers means those stakeholders which really appreciate nature. Although we right now our complete focus is on cash crops, we are focused on monoculture or something like the crops which are generally used, and we all know that not more than 6 crops are there which are maximally used in world. But along with that, how the tree species which we are losing could be just revived along with the crops, and we can mix it with, and that we all know about the agroforestry, what the pattern is. So in Rajasthan, what actually goes well, how it goes well, and what are the challenges, this is all we are working on it, and we are discussing with the farmers as well as the grassroots level workers, as well as academia is involved in that, but up to certain level. We are morely focused on demand driven through farmers and the industries. Industries means tree-based enterprises or tree-based industry. This is how we linked everything. And then what type of species? And species, basically our mandate is having the indigenous varieties. And through that indigenous varieties, how we can revive our green cover. And for the long-term benefit in terms of carbon sequestration or carbon credits, this is what we are doing in this particular TOF program. And right now also the program is going on outside, and very quickly I will be just interacting with you all, sharing my experiences of past work, and then quickly we'll be just having the questions. So let's see the slideshow here. So I think my screen is visible to everyone here, and that's yeah. So this is now slideshow. Yeah. So again, it is echoing. Please stop that echoing sound. Yeah. So here you will find different logos. Now, why these logos? What they are representing? Because I am also involved with the UN SDGs. I am also involved with the local NGOs, that is RSNH. I am also involved with the rural, platform throughout the world, that is GFSRD. And of course, as a professional engagement, I am also involved with the C4 World Agroforestry right now as a state head for the TOF program here. And the complete this title here is completely it's nothing new. You all know about that. I'm just presenting this, and we simply mobilized and sensitized our rural communities. And what we did is that first, what the challenges they are facing. For example, in Rajasthan, we all know that water is something like a big challenge. So taking water as the first focal point, and then how to go for the holistic development. In my slideshow, very quickly, you will be showing the results, But behind that result, behind that all the work, there was a lot of activities, a lot of preparations were done, and many teams were there. So this is not my alone work. This is the whole team, and not only the team of professionals, team of youth, team of volunteers, but also the local rural community, local governance, local academia, as well as whosoever, those who are those who were engaged to have the volunteership development in near future from their academic platform. So this is all how, you know, the contributions of all of them, and it has been done. So we all know about the issues. I will not go in the details. You all know the basic things, but here the institutional factors are very important. Leave aside the economic factors and social factors, but institutional factors are something like we are having a lot of constitutional framework or legal framework, but the thing is that, and it is also considered as one of the strongest framework throughout the world. But unfortunately, the execution or implementation is something like going on. But talking about these institutional factors and the legal framework, or something like the forcing mechanism for the present community, in age-old period, there was not the laws which were governing the behavior or activities of the people. That was simply the directions, the rules, or the niti, we used to say in Hindi, the niti, or the those type of points which were framed by the experiential people, age-old people of the villages. And this is how it was done. With the time period, yes, they were also knowing that what are wrong, what is right. So in the modern perspective also, there might be few of the such type of rules which are obsolete, but still most of them are having the relevance with the present world, and that could overcome the challenges which we are facing. So and we all know about the sustainability pillars. We know about the environment, we know about the society, we know about the economy. So this was the three pillars which were there, and similarly, present world has simply changed this. Now the economy is on the top. We feel that everything is based on something like money. We are towards the materialistic approach. We are towards the consumeristic world. We are using the bhog culture. You know about that everything use and throw, the waste generation, everything is going on. So this is what is going on. कौन पड़े भाई इतने चक्कर में, ये लो और फेंको इसको, थैला घर से लेके चलते थे, and that was completely lost. And this is why, because now our purchasing power is increasing day by day, and we are having so much of money that we say that everything could be taken. But you all experienced about the this corona period. What happened to that? Was economy there? So rethink that what present societies, what present. So environment is on some sideline. This is few of the pockets right now. I think something around 200, 300 people are there on this particular platform who are interacting on such aspect. But what about the billions of people who are still considering economic, the corporate sector? They are lobbying to just stop what type of laws, what type of rules which are halting their economy. So economy means, I mean to say that earning their business profits. So a lot of conflicts are there. Although as an independent consultant, I'm working with different projects in corporate world also, and for the world banks also, as well as government of India. So there we are simply giving the middle path. So that is what the sustainable development right now we are talking about. And it is not the new term or new something like for India. It is age-old practice which was followed by Indian communities. So we all know that what exactly the sustainability is. So the present world has in 2015 marked all these, that 17, but 2030 has been given the cutoff point that by this year we have to come up with certain practices which could stop or halt those causes which are giving us the challenges. But there is doubt, there is question mark. Still we have to work a lot in this direction. And still I involved in some UN meetings or summits also. There are still very few people are there. But until unless the true leadership in the political relevance or something like the Andolan sort of, Anna Ji sort of, or Bahuna sort of, or Kejarli sort of, such type of Andolans are required towards all these. Definitely present the Padma Shri awardees, especially I'm talking about Rajasthan. I had been in touch with several grassroots level farmers, grassroots level workers who really did the marvelous work in Rajasthan. And the Padma Shri recognized their efforts. And today, the World Agroforestry platform here in Jaipur, we had created the hub also, where all these Padma Shri awardees as well as the grassroots level workers who are contributing at a single step are with us, and in holistic manner, how it could be scalable in other areas. That's what going on. So in Jaipur, we are already established here in Agriculture Research Institute. Those who are from Jaipur, they can contact here at Durgapura. But we are also in the line of establishing 3 more centers at different zones in Rajasthan. That will be the hub. Bringing all such practitioners, the grassroots level, as well as academia, as well as scientists, as well as industrialists, and whosoever involved in that, NGOs, FPOs, or even the political governance or local governance, the panchayats, all these sarpanch or MPs, MLA, to on one platform, and how to get the perfect, result of the plantation type. No, we are not focusing on the number or quantity. We are not targeting that we have to go for this. Okay, we have cut-off point is there ki at least this much of level, if we will achieve, then only we will be having reduction in carbon or something like we can contribute to the nature, because nature itself is very big. So in this particular program, we are trying our best, and I will request all of you to just shake the hands with this program. 7 states they are presently undertaken in India. Rajasthan is one of that. So let's see. And we know about the restoration. So this is again very important for this decade, because whatever area we are losing, they are open for the plantation practices. Plantation. Now, plantation should not be, because I think I've seen that a lot of academic esteemed professors are there from the botany background. So you all know about which type of plant species need to be planted here or proposed for any plantation work. So your contribution is required. Your contribution is required not only for sensitizing the youth from the colleges or schools or some academic platform, but also the common public, common mass. Because recently we conducted some 4 workshops here in Jaipur, and we also called the professors or the academic world here to simply give their points, whether it is some debatable sort of thing or something like everything. So open platform was there. So again, you need to contribute at every part in this society to really let the governance know, the policymakers know that what the actuality is required if we are talking about the restoration works. So this is slide which every time I used to give in my presentation, and this is what the hot spot right now in India, the Banaras. We all know about the Banaras or Varuna Assi, the river Varuna and river Assi. In between that is Varuna Assi. But right now, see the changes, 1822. And see, this work was done by Stephen Lemke, the German scientist, not from the India. And he simply worked on the blue spaces. And what changes he found, and how the urban sprawl took place, and what type of conditions changed, and what we are facing. And simultaneously, see, in 1931, when Water Works Department was established by the colonial rule, and today it's still going on. So still, if such type of departments are being made, then what actually they are playing is that tap to every house is the solution. From where the water will come in the tape? This tapping is required to think over. So I had very good discussions with the policymakers and the bureaucrats, as well as the central and state governance, that yes, you are targeting that every house should be having the tape there, the PhD is doing, and they are putting there all the efforts, but you are exploiting from the ground. Surface water already be lost due to non-systematic, unsystematic plannings. And go for the past plannings. We will find that how beautifully our old architectural designers they used to plan a city. But today what we are losing is actually something like that. So before this World Agroforestry, I was working for the Atal Bhujal project, and I was in Gujarat, and I had seen there what type of changes are required. And I submitted one report there where I had just mentioned that what we are losing or what actually the goods are going on and what need to be done. So that could be my perspective. It may be open for everyone, but yes, the lot of discussions were made on water management there, because still India, we say that we are receiving less rainfall, but I'm sorry, rainfall, you will find that the data is same. Although, yeah, some days are something going out, and we are getting some rampant, rainfall. But why, whatever the water we are getting from the precipitation are lost, why not to sustainably manage the water? That need to be think over if we don't want to stop such type of urban sprawling or something like, changes in the land use aspect. So at that time, definitely every drop is very important to manage it, and that's what the policymakers and we all academicians who have to serve if really we want to, because bookish knowledge won't work. This is how we are projected throughout the world, but this is not the actuality. Every the tradition, the customs, everything, they are having the eco-compatibility. But unfortunately, the plastic, which is also the theme of a recent global environmental day. So plastic is something which is degrading a lot. But can we stop simply by making the laws or implementing or executing the laws? I'm sorry. What I felt is that definitely we have to be our single contributor to the society on our same behalf. What we can do, we can create the examples from our own behavior, because the community follow the people who are having something like good domain. If you are from the academic world, definitely your surrounding will be keeping eye on you, and every point whatever the behavior you are presenting towards environment, definitely they are being under observance by your own kins or by the society. So here we have to rethink that what our action are giving to the society. This is how I will not say that go for the will, and this is how we are losing the wilderness right now. This is something like a glamorous world. So if you are using the green advocacy or something like wild with you or something like environment, then that will be the glamorous tadka in your whatever the activities we are planning, and everyone is running behind the green. But what actually they are doing, what actually, whether we are getting ultimate goal or not, we are planting the tree, but that tree, what is the surveillance rate? As per you all are academician, you calculate that what actually the plantation activity took place in last 20 years or 10 years, or even 5 years. Now in 5 years, how much plantation took place, and take only Rajasthan, not go in throughout India, Aravallis. Now just calculate how much plants were planted there, and what's the canopy cover. So according to my observation, we are having no space for plantation work. That is what the irony of our activities. And that's where we have to rethink that what actually we are doing is something like in the right direction, or something like rightly we are going. Everything. We know about the heritage of our area, our nation. No need to go in this detail because you all are academician. You all know about that. Yes. Here, I want to focus that why we are only focusing on the urban areas. Why not in the village? Let's protect the village areas, the rural areas. We are having a lot of potential. So Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is something like I got the opportunity to get involved in that also. So there we are getting a lot of villages. Now villages, they are having very good, and even in this Corona period, we simply observed that how the reverse migration took place and through livelihood. So wherever our presence were there was no issue of, number one, the Corona impact, number two, the livelihood options, because we created such a model which will be discussed in later on slides here. So this is how we have to transform. Even we created our own house in the village area, and that house is again the eco-sustainable house, low-cost building with the eco-compatibility. So when I discuss the same thing with the engineers or architectural planners, at that time the complete discussions are on the architecture which we did in our programs. And this is what we know. So basically, we are focusing on the ecosystem diversity in the holistic approach. We are not going in one single genetic or a species diversity, because until unless the whole of the ecosystem or whole of the habitat is not conserved or protected or preserved, then definitely there might be, because every organism, every life forms have the linkages with each other. So this is how we are doing. You all are academician. You all know that presently we know only 2.3 million species. And still there is confusion how much species are there, 6.5 million, but 8.7 million species it was given by the geographer Mora et al. So they had given that there might be the 8.7. See, not the biologist, but the geographer, the social scientist. They propounded that there might be the 8.7 million species on this earth. And this paper is not from anywhere. You can find it in the Nature also, how much species are there. And this is how the production of legal it's going on. This is on the international level. I will just skip these slides because these you all know about all these programs. And this is what the commission, where you can could be part, and locally whatever you are doing, you can share it with the international platforms. Everything is free here, no fees, no subscription there. But yes, screening is there. So as per your taste, and it's still the sub commissions are there. So you could be the part of any of these commission, and just share your work and get involved with the international platform. So let's go on the same thing which I had mentioned, Indian perspective. So here what we say is that for our nature is everything for us, everything. We can't deny that even we are the part of the nature. Unfortunately, due to the eco, we had maintained ourselves as the central focus point, and all other life forms are now moving around. And we thought that we are the king of this earth. We are the super species. Already we mentioned about that, but Corona has simply given us the alarming bell that you are the super species, then what to do next? Think over it. And this is what our culture is giving to us. So we have to again revive our old harmonious synchronized approaches with the nature, with the surrounding. And this is how we have to work. We have to revive. And these are the patterns which we are using for implementing our own programs, whether it is a scientific, hardcore, that scientific logical framework, or whatever the proposal that is for us, for the academicians, for the development sector professionals. But for the common mass, that is simply, what you are seeing here as a collage here. So we are taking the folklore as one of the part. We are taking the sentiments of the people. We are taking the local customs, whatever the things, the festivals which are being celebrated in that particular area as their reference tools to how to get back to our eco-cultural roots. And that is how we are, sensitizing the people, keeping our focus in the back mind of our team, and the actual what actually we want, the success. And that's how, giving due respect to the local beliefs, local rituals. That is how we are giving. Already the government has given this thing. And this is what age-old practice is. I don't know how much you will agree from all these things, but the references I had taken from different ancient texts here, and they had mentioned about the 8.4 million species on this earth. And a simple sentence, I think you all have heard, कि 84 लाख योनियों से गुजरने के बाद इंसान का जन्म मिलता है. So talking about the development biology or embryology, whatever the things are there, we know that every phase we are facing from amoeba to multicellular, highly complex animal, how we are passing through. So in simple sentences, our ancestors, the Rishi Munis, the age-old saints, they had mentioned the 84 lakh yoniya. So this is how, we are simply discarding the age-old practices does not mean that you are the modern scientist. We all are the modern scientists. Sorry, extremely sorry for that. And why I am doing this? Because many times the people argued with me that, Dr. Mehra, you are a scientist. Why you are putting all these are orthodox, conservatives. A lot of words are there in the dictionaries of the present world. But I said that, have you simply said that these aspects are wrong? And if this is wrong, why these are illogical? Have you did any research in any of the practices? If you did the research and then you propounded that yes, these are having no relevance in the nature, then you are having the right to say that age-old practices are completely obsolete in the present world. So my dear friends here, and as well as the academicians, as well as the environmentalists, as well as the nature lovers, my simple request is that don't straightforward negate the age-old practices. And this is not only in India, but this I found in Middle East, Africa, Europe, everywhere. I used to present this slide with all of the global communities, saying that what actually the India has given to the world and what your site has given to the world. So everything is there. Everything is there. I am not giving here the examples from my Middle East or Africa or European tours here, because I don't want to share there, because they are their practices. So there also we were having a lot of discussions on the indigenous approaches of protecting the environment and where we are losing, what we are losing. That is why the UN is also going in the design. We all know about the Bishnois, Khizuli massacre and everything. No need to discuss in details. Yes. Third point, you can get involved in WCCB. If you are interested in wildlife, get involved in Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. And again, free of cost, no thing. You can contribute by protecting every single species of the fauna, even the plants also. You can get involved in that. And the NGO ERN, Emergency Relief Network, that is Wildlife Trust of India, so and IFA, they all are contributing a lot by involving a local volunteers or local academician or every stakeholder to protect all the life forms of this area. I will not go in details of the legal things here. So see here how we use all these approaches. We simply took the bottom-up approach. Instead of taking policies making in the rooms, what we did is that what actually the issues are there. We did all the reconnaissance survey for the areas. Then what are the root cause? So RCA we did root cause analysis. Then we made the problem tree of that particular site if we are going for any conservation action. And then through participatory approaches, we had involved all the stakeholders and then prepared whatever the proposed action is there required or need. So need-based assessment is very important. And as per the target audiences, we have to design our own approaches of activities while going in the field. That's what we do. So even when I'm taking classes of master's degree or something like UG degree or even the schools, so there I used to have a few of some technical slides also, so that at least they can know that how the data could be collected. So that is the different aspect here. I'm not giving the complete that technical sessions here. It's simply the sensitization and mobilization which I'm doing from my experiences, the work which you already know. So sustainable development this is what the approach we here the problem was of water and how we transformed the same village. So this is just after transformation, and now it is the lush green in Bharatpur. This is how we explore the opportunities, what my potential is, what I can do, and where I put myself when targeting the conservation activity for any particular site. And similarly, what are the target stakeholders? So accordingly, we plan what need to be intervened proposed activities. And this is what the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, there also we are doing the same thing for different villages throughout India. So I used to visit on the same issue and visiting the field there. My contribution is simply to assess that what actually the problems or the challenges of that particular site where we are targeting the action. So here, how we are skilling everyone. Skilling is very important. Taking degree, you all know. If we are dealing with the taxonomy after graduation, how many taxonomists are we are producing right now through our formal education? I'm not putting anything, but it's my simple observations. So we need to think. So skilling is very in the program in villages. We created the biodiversity register, and there the local youth, they are not from the biological background, but they know the local vegetation, local species, and they created the biodiversity register, keeping record of all the species of their area. They know that what are the important species of their particular site. This is how we skill and link the formal education with all what actually in the field required. That's what we did, and this is how we did. You all know about that. This is again the same thing, the beliefs which we are making use of in any of the site where we are intervening. And this is what the models we created. So we earlier we used to have the eco-centric approach. Then we changed our form. First we transformed in 2002 to the community-centric. And now the community-centric approach, we took the eco-centric result. Again to the back slide here, see, what the models we prepared, site specific globally. Now, site specificity is very important. Whatever I am presenting here is for the particular site, but based on the same natural principle. So if you are intervening for particular area in any of your site, then you have to consider your area, your site specific characteristics, features in every field. Then you have to plan what the aspects are required. So the Mount Abu in Rajasthan, extreme southwest corner, oasis in the desert, and the Chak Ramnagar Bharatpur, which is completely northeast area, and the planar area, and the Chambal, which is the ravine ecology. So something like different. And this is how we created nature-based, community-owned, sustainable tourism. This is how we planned and lived all the aspect, everything in our actions here. And this is simply, the engineers, the technical people, they need that what actually required. So this is the basic, points which I share with the every academic world or the technocrats, that what actually our site specifically need. So in even the village, we are not finding the natural, resource mapping. Although Bhuvan is there, Google is there, but still, how much area is under agriculture, arable land, or what type of species are there, what type of plants are there. Although biodiversity convention, CBD is very important here, but still we need to work on in this direction. So what prima facie we felt that these all are required. So that's why I just mentioned here. It could be differ from area to area. So few initiatives quickly, individual level, because whatever I am saying is not simply that we did this. We first executed in our own premises here, and this is what the line water is now changed with the natural aspect to the drinkable or potable water, and how the plants, the hard species were going, how it was completely revived in green cover, and how the buildings were created with the eco-compatibility. So this is all we did. So this is what the first section we did here, managing the water. So even drought and flood could be controlled in this particular campus. This is what how prepared, but I will not go in the detail how we did, and neither I can show right now the video clips. It will take a long time here, but several other time we'll discuss all these things. This is what we did. So completely the principles are the same, and even the gray or black water, whatever we consider, they are not going out from the campus. Not a single drop of water is going out. There is nothing like waste in this particular campus. So they are again using the reed bed technology. We had simply made them, completely purified them, treated them, and again, after a certain time, that has been recharged in the ground. So how we are doing, everything is, technical aspect. So this view, and see the greenery, the photographs taken from the same angle, how it was prepared and how it was done. So different collage will give you the landscaping and the indigenous aspect. So this is what we deviated the land from green cover is again revived to certain time. Although we can't revive, the complete aspect. And this is what the biodiversity profile of this small 34,000 square feet area, where we are getting a lot of biodiversity here. This is simple, small view of the pictures of this area. This is how this is now the training center for a lot of people here, the academicians, as well as the management trainees, as well as the engineers, or development sector professionals, or even the foreigners. If they are coming, they want to learn about the eco traditions of India. So we are having a linkages with the international platform. So they used to come here and take the interactions with the local, So this is just a few pictures here, and this is how we had created the livelihood options in different areas. So agropreneurship or womenpreneurship or whatever the things are there. This is how the local stakeholders are practicing. At the community level, again, the same thing as I mentioned about the these four things. Abu model was based on Munia. I was focused on green Munia, the threatened species, but the local community need the livelihood. This is how we transformed. When we started the work at that time, the number was something around 342 in 2003, and then today it is 6,000 plus. Right now it is 6,000 plus, and it has been also taken as a mascot in 2019 election by the district administration. And now the people used to say, this is my Munia, Meri Munia. So our work is done. Now they are protecting, and now in 1996, even your scientific paper says that everything was wiped out from the southern Rajasthan belt. Only few pockets of Mount Abu was there where you can find the green munia. Today, you go in Mount Abu area, particular sites, and you go in the southern Rajasthan area, you'll find all over there. You can see this beautiful little beauty there. So this is one of the thing where we linked the local people with the thing. So trappers were transformed to the protectors, and this is where KNP. So cluster-based approach we took, and how we water was core issue for here. So problem was water, challenge was water, and how we transformed from the CSR projects here. So this is how, and scientific calculation, everything. You will find the scientific papers also. So below you will find what actually we did and what achievement we are doing. And right now you can visit any of the villages there. So how the challenges were overcome and how they were transformed to protect their local or natural heritage. So this is simple. I'm just skipping everything. See the school here, left hand side, top pictures, 3 small pictures, all the mud and the drainage system. And after intervention, see the reed bed system and see the clean water which they are getting from this particular reed bed system. How we are collecting the water. So this is how it has been transformed. And this is in details what we did. We simply intervened with the structural or civil works here, mobilized them, and then see the result. Now the people were mobilized. They had created a lot of things, and the women were simple sensitized that you are having the affinity to develop such type of artifacts. And they found that raw material now they are not available. Already they lost. Then again they started planting the local. And we know that how grass are important to create things. So we linked all these things, and now they are getting this. Demand is very high, and production is still low. This is how the government is taking advantage of such mobilization aspect. This is one of the aspect. Similarly, in Dholpur, see the holistic development, how we took. This was 2 hours Nala, not more than that, River Bamni. And what we did is structural intervention. So we stopped the water, underground percolating water through this intervention, but at sustainable height so that the downstream could not stop, and see the change. Now it is 12-month river. See, this is river. This is river. So this is what the scientific, now you can go there and you can find. This is how the mobilization was done and transformation. Now the village are keeping, how these all are the development sector, approaches. And see the holistic development, plantation programs in the ravines, which type of species, how water they have to collect. So almost 20 villages they are now getting. How the digital education to the women as well as the local youth, they are being things. See, these all are the sensitization. This is holistic approach. Now the Bacha Party has taken this movement, and the afforestation is going on, and climate change issues have been taken. Consider how much credits they will be getting. That is issue of later on. This is how they have been sensitized. So, and this is what reed bed system in the corporate level. So corporates, they are using this. Even the toxic waste could be refined. So again, I will not go in the details how we refined, how we did, what we did. This is in the housing societies in Mumbai to North, everywhere you can find the same thing. So this is what I'm doing for the natural solutions. Through that we did. This is the Africa, the biggest one of the petroleum industry, where we created a lot of forests there. And this is how we are using the same technique. This is what the waste management, the 2018 first prize winner in Nagda. So the waste, left hand side, the waste part, and now it is the tourism spot. Ujjain, Nagda, in between that, this is what. And this is how we created the rural entrepreneurship. Different. You all know about that. This is simply sensitization. So these are the champions, local champions, wildlife crusaders. All these practically. And this is how we are maintaining. Even the scientific world can get all these aspects. All these aspects are covered in the documentation also. You can go for the Sahapedia where you will find this. So this is what actually we need to do. Thank you very much. Over to you again. So any question, please, you are free to ask questions. So over to you, ma'am. I hope that I had not taken too much time.
For your Dr. That was just a basic presentation. Time was off, but it was amazing presentation. And I really hope you are joining us on 12th of July for the dental, I believe.
But I could not able to hear your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me, Dr. Mehra, now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm getting it.
Joining us on 12th of July 23, right?
Actually, sorry, ma'am. I think some echoes are going on and could not able to, clearly, but I can only hear that Mehra, you are saying Dr. Mehra is there. No issue, no issue. Any question is there, you can please.
Check the sound, please. Can you hear me now? You can?
Yes.
You have to mute it or something like that. Okay, what I'm saying, you are joining us on 12th of July, right? 12th of July 23.
July.
You got the lecture, right, Dr. Mehra?
Ma'am, can you write? I'm missing your words.
You cannot hear me. What problem hai?
It's echoing, ma'am. Actually, it is echoing. So that's why I'm not able to.
Voice is echoing.
Yeah.
Now, am I audible to you?
Ma'am, you are audible. No issue.
I'm saying, will you be joining us on 12th of July 23?
Okay, fine. Fine.
You got the letter of invitation.
Okay, no issue. I will just drop the date. No issue. Tomorrow I will just give you the answer. I will just check it. Yeah.
It was pleasure to host you here. It was amazing to tell you. Thank you so much. Aapka bahut dhanyawad. Looking forward to see you in July.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time to introduce to you all our next keynote speaker, who is Dr. Surinder Kumar Yadav. Dr. Surinder Kumar Yadav is a project director, environmental conservation at Seahart, India at present. He did his MSc and PhD in the field of environmental science from Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi, India. He is also a law graduate from the University of Delhi. Yadav was awarded prestigious 6 awards, 2 international and 2 national. Completed 6 research projects successfully. Published more than 80 research papers, including international peer-reviewed journals. Published edited 6 books. He has 80 patents credited as a joint intervention. That's amazing. Last year, 80 patents, out of which I'm just trying to, invite the number to be the patents and kisi ke dekhe nahi kabhi. 76 national and 4 international. Presented more than 260 papers in national and international conferences. He guided 29 research conferences, 28 after that 1 PhD. Has membership of more than 13 international and scientific professional bodies and provided expert inputs to World Health Organization and UN body. Dr. Yadav visited many countries like Switzerland, Germany, France, Italy, Netherlands, South Korea, etc. for research and scientific activities. His area of research interest are ecosystem and natural resources, management using remote sensing and GIS, environmental law, sustainable development, and environmental health, etc. He has more than 25 years of research activity experience. सर आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता है खुश हम आपको अपने पाकर और आपकी जो छोटा सा एक रिव्यू आपका बताया बहुत ही astonishing है marvelously beautiful है बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि आपने हमें आज ज्वाइन किया so without taking much of time I will request Dr. Yadav to begin his start it's all yours.
Thanks a lot of ma'am for wonderful introduction, and it's my pleasure to be associated with you through this program.
That's amazing.
And I thank you very much for inviting, and thanks also to your team for organizing this wonderful program. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Let me share 1 minute, just a minute. Is my slide visible? All of you, please.
So very much visible, we can hear you and see when your slides are ready for one moment.
It is visible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, dear respected colleagues, participants, faculty members, students, and research scholars, today we will discuss something on plastic pollution handling for sustainability. Let me uh, first, I think all of you should know plastic is everywhere nowadays, whether it is air, soil, water, food items, whatever, everywhere plastic is available. This is a very serious issue. And for the size nomenclature, we can call a nanoplastic, that is from 1 nanometer to 1 micrometer. Then microplastic. Is I am audible correctly? Everything is audible, ma'am? Okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You are audible. You are very much audible.
Okay,
Please go
thank you. Thank you. So as far as size is concerned, we categorize it nanoplastic, microplastic. That is microplastic is from 1 to 1000 micrometer. Then mesoplastic, macroplastic, and megaplastic. Megaplastic is more than 50 centimeter in the size. So plastic is everywhere. Plastic pollution is everywhere, as I told you. Whether it is environment, all the components of environment like lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere, it is present nowadays. And ecosystems, all the ecosystems, pond, water, soil ecosystem, forest ecosystem, they all have plastic in that. Then from ecosystem, it goes to the food chain, and from food chain, it goes to all fauna and flora. All plants and animals are exposed to plastic pollution, even our human body and cells. What is plastic? Basically, who are known chemistry people for that. Plastics are mostly carbon-based atoms. Uh, in exceptional cases, silicones. Carbon atom is capable of linking to other atoms with up to 4 chemical bonds. In plastic, the carbon atoms also link to hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, or sulfur. So to make unit cells, a group of atom is used called monomers, and many monomers together join to form polymers. So any synthetic or semi-synthetic polymers are plastics. Plastics always consist of large molecules called polymers. Uh, all plastics are polymers, but not all polymers are plastics. And length also determines the property of the plastic, the size. This is very serious issue. Last year, one of the top journal of public health, Lancet, it informed that microplastic are found in all ecosystems. Tissues accumulation of microplastic has been observed in mice as well as human beings, and recently it is detected in human blood streams, in placenta. So this is very serious issue that microplastic has been detected in the human blood. So let's first look some facts. Plastic is a synthetic polymer, as you know, which is made from the fossil fuel. Initially invented in 1885, it is malleable, lightweight, transparent, unbreakable, therefore used in daily uses like polythene bag and other items. But remember, it is not biodegradable. And for degradation, it takes minimum 20 to many hundred years. So this is a serious issue, very serious issue. Because main problem with plastic lies that it can take up to 500 years or more than that, depending on the structure and environmental factor like sun exposure and other environmental parameters. And you could have seen plastic everywhere in the ponds. Cow are eating. Sometimes we see along roadside these plastics. So management of plastic is very important, and it must be a priority for everyone. Some other facts: more than 13,000 chemicals has been identified as associated with plastics and plastic production across a wide range of applications. 10 group of chemicals are identified as being of major concern due to their high toxicity. They can released from different substances into the environment, and they may be a substance very lethal with high toxicity like biophenols, alkaline fluorols, uh, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and many others, okay, like biocides. So this is a very serious problem because their toxicity is uh, very dangerous to the human being and other species. So next slide. Plastic additives, we all know, can leach from the food cans or water bottles into our food or water or drinks, and they are found as microplastics. You will be surprised to note that even before birth, children are exposed to plastics that can harm their development. The universal exposure of pregnant women to toxic plastic ingredients means every fetus develops in the presence of hormone disruptive chemicals, and therefore plastic is a very serious problem. And as we learn more about microplastics, researchers have found that even contaminate human placenta. So it is available in blood. It can come to the baby through placenta when baby is in womb, and after the birth through milk uh, of the mother, it goes to the baby. So you can imagine the impact and seriousness of this plastic micro pollution. So the manufacturers of plastic has become a major source of greenhouse emissions and driver for climate change also. Uh, as far as important sources are concerned, chemicals of concern have been found in plastic across a wide range of sectors, and many products like packaging, food packaging material, electronic equipments, vehicles, synthetic textiles, furniture, building material, medical devices, personal and hygiene care items, household products, agriculture products and fisheries, marketing products, and all these things, they are the source of plastic in the ecosystems. We know very commonly that plastic bag, plastic stationery, plastic coating, plastic sheets, plastic tanks, toys, buckets. There are a lot of items in daily uses which are made up of plastic. So we have to be very serious about plastic pollution. As per United Nations Environmental Program, they estimated that more than 300 million tons of plastic is produced every year. So every year, huge plastic is produced. And please remember, majority of this produced plastic is not recycled. Only 9% of all plastic products or produced is recycled. And about 2 million plastic bags are used every minute worldwide. Single-use plastics are illegal in some parts of the world. Every minute of every day, a truckload of plastic is dumped into the ocean. So majority of plastic is going through streams and river to the ocean. 73% of beach litter worldwide is plastic. 1 million plastic bottles are brought every minute. So there could be more plastic than fish in the ocean by the year 2050. This is a very serious issue. Up to 90% of plastic polluting ocean is carried by 10 rivers. 99% of seabirds will be eating plastic by 2050. The average person eats 70,000 microplastic each year. You see this figure. One average person eats approximately 70,000 microplastic each year. So you can imagine the threat and the toxicity and seriousness about this pollution, plastic pollution. Data that would make you think twice before using plastic. Every year, more than 400 million ton of plastic is produced, out of which at least 8 million ton of plastic end up in the oceans, and more than 500 million plastic bags are used and produced. In the last decade, we produced more plastic than in the whole last century. India alone consumed more than 17.8 million ton of plastic in the year 2017. I could not find latest data about India in this correction. As far as ocean plastic is concerned, India is second after Philippines. So 126.513, that means that huge amount of plastic annual estimate in metric ton goes to the ocean. So India is second contributor after Philippines, number 2. So this gives an idea how problem is serious, because from ocean it comes to the food through fish. So there is an estimated up to 199 million ton of plastic waste currently in our oceans, and 33 billion pounds of plastic entering the marine environment every single year. So this constant flow of plastic production is simply too much for existing waste management and recycling infrastructure. Plastic pollution permeates every inch of the ocean, from microplastic in the food chain to plastic water bottles floating on the surface. Rules for plastic management in our country are also important to note that India has banned manufacturing, sale, and use of identified single-use plastic items like plates, cups, straws, tray polymerase, etc. Initially, the rule was framed in 2021. They modified this for single use in 22, again in July. Then from January 2023, again the rule for the thickness was revised, and it was kept at 120 micron according to the plastic waste management amendment rules. So these plastic waste management rules amended basically the rule was 2021, amended in last year 2022. Then further it was revised in January of this year. In addition to these rules, the other act and law which are also powerful is Water Prevention Control Pollution Act 1974, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister. That was enacted by the Parliament in our country. This also deals with plastic in the water, because plastic is a pollution also in the water system. Then later on, Air Act came in 1981. That also deal with pollution, and plastic, microplastic in the air also come under this, the preview of the Air Act also. However, in air, plastic is very less compared to water and food items, but still in air also microplastics, and we inhale our through lungs, it goes in the body. Then in 1986, a more powerful law, that is Environmental Protection Act, came to deal with plastic pollution. In addition to the separate plastic management and handling rules. So historical resolution was adopted by all the countries, approximately 175 countries, important countries of the world, through a treaty in the United Nations Environment Assembly, and India is also one of the signatory to manage this plastic pollution. Impacts of plastic pollution are very serious to note, that women and children are more susceptible to plastic pollution because of their toxicity and impacts on overall physiology and body. Exposures can have severe to long-lasting adverse effects or several key periods of women's life and may impact the next generation also. As I told you, from women to children, it can transmit through placenta as well as breastfeeding. Exposure during fetal development in children can cause some neurodevelopmental problems and issues of behavior-related disorders in the children. Men are not spared either. Men are also has a lot of impacts, with latest research documenting substantial detrimental effect on male fertility also noticed through the use or by the toxicity of the plastic. So exposure to hazardous chemicals, many of which are associated with plastic, many hazardous chemicals. So the concerned important plastic toxicity is going to the food chain, human, animal body, during not only the extraction of raw material, production of polymers, and manufacture of plastic products. During these processes also, a lot of plastics enter in the ecosystem and affect the species, including human beings. But also the use of plastic product, one must remember, at the end of their life, particularly when waste is not properly managed. So it is harmful and it is finding their way to the air, water, and soil. So existing evidence calls for urgent action to address chemicals in the plastic as part of the global action on the plastic pollution to protect ecosystems, human health and environment, and transition to a toxic-free and sustainable circular economy. These are the important concepts and issues to be managed. There are more than 5.25 trillion macro and micro pieces of plastics in the ocean. That equates to 46,000 pieces per every square mile of ocean. So you can imagine so every water in the ocean is having the potentiality of plastic pollution. Furthermore, it is estimated that 8 million new species of plastic are dumped into the ocean. Plastic does not always float on the surface. It can also sink directly to the seafloor, become caught up in the underwater avalanches, and mix with the sediments flow down submarine siphons. So plastic that reaches into the deep sea can end up buried in the seafloor sediments and in areas that are hotspots for marine life. So all the life which is on the bottom of the ocean is also has a lot of impact and toxicity due to plastic, especially microplastic. So microplastic in the deep sea eventually accumulate toxins on their surface. This toxin covered plastic is then eaten by smallest marine life, which causes it to enter the food chain through fish and become consumed by larger marine animals and subsequently to the people and human. So over 1 million marine animals, including many sea turtle, die each year due to plastic pollution in the ocean. And the majority of animals that die are seabirds, with mammals often being more visible in the media. And many times deaths are not reported properly, which may be much more than the reported one. So the simple thing is avoid all plastic, PVC, and styrene products. There are some examples which we can visualize and imagine the impacts, how they are impacting the life and the human beings. For example, polyvinyl chloride, PVC. So it has common uses, lot of common uses like in floor tiles, uh, cosmetics, shower curtain, toys, water pipes, garden hoses, food packaging, plastic wrappers. So this uh, impact from these items considerably shown by evidences that they can cause cancer, birth defects, genetic changes. So genetic mutation is also possible. Chronic bronchitis, ulcer, skin diseases, deafness, vision failure, ingestions, etc. Such problems are uh, already seen by polyvinyl chloride impacts and toxicity. Another, for example, polycarbonate with bisphenol A. Basically, water bottles which we used, they are the source, and its health impact is with it can cause cancer. It can interfere the immune systems. So immunology is affected. Uh, Puberty is affected. So early puberty generally comes in the children because of this polycarbonate and biphenols plastic pollution, and that is through the uh, water bottles or other drinks. Next is, for example, polystyrene, uh, because people use many items or products which can cause the pollution of polystyrene, like CD, building insulation, ice buckets, wall tiles, paints, rigid plates. So a lot of foams. So the or packaging of fish, cheese, and other food items. So these are the common source, and adverse effects are noticed are eye irritation, nose and throat sizzling and unconsciousness and problems, migrates into food and store in blood fat, this chemical especially, and elevates rates of lymphatic and hematopoietic cancer. So cancer in the liver is also seen, and lymphs. So this has toxic impact on the life. Another example of common species or substance which is coming from the plastic is polyethylene, and its common uses, as you know, water, soda bottles, carpet fibers, chewing gum, coffee, steering the road, plastic road, drinking glasses, okay, which are made up of plastics, kitchenwares, plastic bags, toys, etc., and they are highly carcinogenic. They can be the source of cancer. Next important species is polyester. So polyester is basically comes like tampons, clothes, food packaging, diapers. So these can be the common uses and source, and its adverse impact can be in the eyes, eye irritation, respiratory tract irritation, acute skin rashes, and other problems. Another important substance and species is urea formaldehyde, and it can come from plywood, building insulations and material, particle board, etc. And its adverse health impacts has been noticed, and the research is evidence based for formaldehyde, as it is carcinogenic, can cause cancer, uh, can interfere with other genetic changes, uh, cause birth defects, cough, swelling of throat, watery eyes, breathing problems, sometimes headache, rashes, and tiredness. These are some of the adverse impacts and health effects due to the urea formaldehyde. So next is polyurethane foam. This is also a very common source. Comes from the cushions, pillows, and other items, and it has adverse impact like bronchitis, coughing, skin, eye problem. Can release highly toxic substance like toluene diisocyanate, which can produce severe lung problems. Then acrylic, so this comes from the clothing, blanket, food preparation, floor wax, then diapers, sanitary napkins, paints, etc. It also causes a lot of problems in breathing, difficulties in uh, proper breathing, vomiting can come, then diarrhea is another issue, nausea, weakness, fatigue, headache, and other psychological disorders are the consequence and results from this pollution, from this species of plastic, that is acrylic. Another important species and common in the environment and ecosystem is tetrafluoroethylene, and it comes from the cookwares, clothes, irons, so ironing board covers, plumbing and tools, and some other items. It can be problematic for eyes, nose, and throat, and can cause breathing difficulties. Then another plastic is DEHP, DINP, and others. So again, there are a lot of uses, common uses like toy, ink, printing ink, footwear, emulsion paints, vinyl clothing, manufacturing products, general purpose lab wares, inhalation masks, many other medical devices. So these can be source, many in addition to other sources. And health impacts are again many. There's a long list. It can interfere with the enzyme and hormones, like endocrine disruption is observed in the laboratory. It can cause asthma, developmental and reproductive effects are also observed and seen. Uh, Medical waste with PVC, polyvinyl chloride, and other species are regularly affecting the public health because there are some dioxins and mercury was associated in the plastic, is also released in the atmosphere and in the food chain, can cause cancer, birth defects, hormonal changes. It can decline sperm count, so it interfere with infertility, endometriosis. It can be a serious problem, or immune system deficiency or immune system defects are there because of this chemical species. So there are many other chemical species. I just discussed few with their impact. So it can open the our mind and eyes to visualize how the chemical pollution and the chemical species are interfering in the uh, human health, ecosystem health, and in the environment, and how much serious we should all be regarding the management and handling the plastic pollution. So some ideas where we can start to manage or handle this plastic pollution step by step. First, for example, we should opt stainless steel bottles. We never should use any plastic bottles or plastic items. Stainless steel glasses, bottles, pure stainless steel, utensils we should use, because for everybody, whether it is baby, kids, or adults, everyone should use these. Look for food products stored in glass or plastic. So there should not be plastic. They can be stored in glass or uh, other metals like stainless steel utensils. Avoid plastic labeled with recycled symbol, which is number 3, made up of PVC. So we should avoid these things straight away. Try not to heat food or liquid in plastic or pouches. Please remember this. As we do heating, chemicals are released and mix the food or eatable items. So high heat allow plastic to leach chemicals faster. Uh, for more good ideas on avoiding plastic, check out My Plastic Free Life. Means how you can make your life free from plastic. Sorry. So you should always make your lifestyle to be free from the plastic use. It is very essential and necessary. So we should adopt the policy of 5R with respect to the management and handling of plastic waste and pollution. Like refuse, we should straight away refuse plastic bags, plastic items, then reduce, we should minimize it, we should reuse what is available, we should recycle, we should refine or rethink. So refuse plastic bags, straws, cups, etc. Reduce what you cannot refuse. So reduce those. Then reuse, repurpose, and recycling. What do rules says? This is important. First, we segregate mandatorily all the plastic item. Then there should be no open disposable, no burning. Process wet waste within the premises. So this has to be done with segregation. Then there should be heavy penalty on non-compliance. How to segregate? We should have a wet waste separate container, sanitary and hazardous waste in another container, different container. We can label it as red. Then e-waste in separate container, and recyclable or dry waste in another container. So segregation is very essential step. How to dispose the waste? So wet waste, we have to segregate. In the solid waste management rule, it is prescribed that wet waste should be processed within the premises itself, whether it is your organization, college, university, or establishment, or industry. Then community compositing in green parks and green development, green belts, there must be priority. Then compositing at household level. Then biomethanation is another aspect which is used in plastic waste management. Then compost can be used in the park. So in the conclusion, we should know that plastic is a very serious pollution for the environment, ecosystems, oceans, impacting biodiversity and affecting human health. So a systematic change is needed where resources are valued, redesigned, and reused. Because plastic is everywhere, remember. A plastic-free planet should not be only for the privileged, but should also be provided solutions and alternatives for many who depend upon this cheap, light, and accessible material. That can be through subsidy or restrictions or better implementation of policies and law. It is important that in the rush to become plastic free, we do not suddenly turn to unsustainable or damaging alternatives. So the solution should be sustainable, and it is the duty to achieve sustainability for the management of plastic. So we require programs to educate people, to educate our students, to educate the civil society. That can be through activism, science and technology research, we can advocate for global change to support a circular economy and sustainable communities worldwide to end plastic pollution in a sustainable manner. Thank you a lot for listening, and any query or any clarification you need, please, you can ask now. It is open for discussion.
Please open the chat box if we have any questions. Let's see. It's a lot of appreciation, very nice and wonderful. And it was, trust me, it was so amazing presentation. I was so spellbound. So हमने भी एक ISTTP किया था, reduce, reuse, recycle पे, पर आपने हमें नई चीजें सिखाई कि refuse, refine, rethink, recycle. And one more thing, मैं आपके उससे देख थी repurpose.
Repurpose, yes.
So many hours are to be there before we buy a plastic bottle, right? So that was an amazing presentation. So I would like to thank you for your time, for your presentation. And slides were so beautiful, sir. If possible, because I'm getting some WhatsApp messages that they want to have your slides. If you find it good, you can share the slides with us and we can share them with the participants.
Yes, ma'am. And
it was an amazing presentation. और आपसे बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगा. और हम ऐसा मानते हैं कि हम हमारे साथ हमेशा इस तरह से जुड़े रहेंगे इस पर्यावरण संरक्षण के कार्यक्रम में. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. साधुवाद सर आपको.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And any later on any query they can send me through email. I'll be happy to answer.
Sure, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Share your email with us and we'll share with the participants.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you.
So, that's the speaker for the day. Our own Dr. Ruchi Sharma. She's an extended family to us. Dr. Ruchi Sharma is currently working as a professor and director in Jalgan Lake City University, Bhopal. She has a work experience of 20 years in the field of education, corporate and social work with national as well as international volunteer organizations. Dr. Sharma has completed her post-graduation social work, sociology, psychology with PG, DHRD and PGTM diploma and honors diploma in computers. She has done her PhD in sociology from Mumbai. She has published her papers in reputed national and international journals and presented papers and conferences. Her research interest areas are sustainable development, social policy, sociology of organizational culture. Her recent publication includes strategy framework, look back communities, adaptation to resilience, in constrained environment research. A research paper published by Springer Nature in 2021, shifting paradigm in human resource management while striving for the service excellence in some industry. Published by Springer Nature in 2021. Then आपका स्वागत, आपका अभिनंदन. Your smile is the most welcome and your smile is so infectious. Trust me, आपका स्वागत, आपका अभिनंदन.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mamta. Thank you so much.
And I really hope that you can figure out that you are going to join us on the live.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mamta. A very good afternoon. Yeah. A very good afternoon to all the participants present here. And just before starting my presentation, kindly just let me know whether my slides are moving or not. I will be going to share the slides. Are you able to see the slide?
No, ma'am. Now, yes.
Yes. I'm just going ahead. Are the slides moving?
No. Now, yes.
Yes. Okay. So I will start now. The presentation which I have made is on especially focusing on the behavior change interventions which are required to save the life below water. We are fortunate to live in a world filled with both an abundance and diversity of life, yet the growing scale and impact of human behavior pose a grave risk to the natural world in irreversible ways. Of the many challenges that we see in the world today, biodiversity loss and the degradation of natural systems are increasingly ones that threatens the livelihoods, health, and well-being of people, as well as the species and places we know and love. The oceans cover more than 70% of the surface of our planet and play a key role in supporting life on Earth. They are the most diverse and important ecosystem, contributing to global and regional element cycling and regulating the climate. The ocean provides natural resources including food, materials, substances and energy. कहा भी गया है हमारे ऋग्वेद में, जल में अमृत है, जल में औषधि है. There is nectar in water, there is medicine in water. Our oceans have never been more threatened. The great challenges of overfishing, climate change, pollution, and habitat loss have taken a terrible toll, jeopardizing vital fish stocks and the lives and livelihoods of the hundreds of millions who depend on them. For centuries, humans have altered water bodies to grow food, produce energy, and protect against flooding. These activities have been central to economic and social development, but they have also harmed water quality and the natural habitats of fish and other water life, especially in rivers. In many cases, water also has the unfortunate task of transporting the pollution we emit to air, land, and water. And in some cases, it is also the final destination of our waste and chemicals. Today, 40% of amphibians, 30% of freshwater fish, and more than 30% of coral reefs and marine mammals are under threat. Marine species face a higher threat of extinction, as you can see it on the slide. Life in freshwater bodies and regional seas is not doing well. The poor state of ecosystems has a direct impact on many animals and planets living in water, and it affects other species and humans, depending on clean water. The state of seas is dire, mainly due to overfishing and climate change. Why? Freshwater bodies suffer from excess nutrients and altered habitats. Chemical pollution negatively impacts both freshwater and marine environments. The main problems in surface water bodies include excessive nutrient pollution from agriculture, chemical pollution deposited from the air, and built alterations that degrade or destroy habitats, especially for fish. Higher concentrations of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere lead to more carbon dioxide in seawater. Higher seawater carbon dioxide levels increase seawater acidity, which causes the calcium carbonate in the ocean to dissolve from high acidity. Corals and shellfish rely on calcium carbonate to form their shell or skeletons, and less of it can considerably reduce their ability to survive. We have seen recently more than 30% increase in acidity in the ocean water since 1900. As ocean temperature rises, marine species experience greater physiological stress since their habitats become warmer, and many are now living close to the maximum temperature at which they can survive. The increased vulnerability of marine life to climate change will likely result in more local extinctions and lead to faster changes in species composition in the ocean. Intensive agriculture relies on synthetic fertilizers to increase crop yields. These fertilizers often work by introducing nitrogen and other chemical compounds into the soil. Nitrogen is a chemical element abundant in nature and essential for plant growth. However, some of the nitrogen intended for crops is not taken up by plants. This could be for a number of reasons, such as the amount of fertilizer applied is more than the plant can absorb, or it is not applied during the plant's growing period. This excess nitrogen finds its way to water bodies. Similar to its impacts on land-based crops, excess nitrogen in water boosts the growth of certain water plants and algae in a process known as eutrophication. This extra growth depletes the oxygen in water to the determinant of other species living in that water body. Agriculture, however, is not the only source of nitrogen ending up in water. Industrial facilities or vehicles running on diesel can also release significant amounts of nitrogen compounds into the atmosphere, which are later deposited on land and water surfaces. Global releases of primary microplastics to the world oceans have increased pollution in the oceans and the water bodies. As from the slides, it is clearly visible that 35% from synthetic textiles, 28% from tires, 24% from city dust, 7% from road markings, 3.7% from marine coatings, 2% from personal care products, and 0.3% from plastic pellets. And in addition to this, plastic is not the only source of pollution. Other sources of pollution include industrial waste, marine dumping, sewage, wastewater, oil leaks and spills, mining activities, burning of fossil fuels, radioactive waste. Now, our brains are wired to pay attention to whatever is happening right here. And to stop this or to control this level of water pollution or to save life below water, we need to go for a behavior change. Conservation or protection of our environment is a behavior challenge and therefore needs behaviorally informed solutions. Many of society's ailments and ambitions, from corruption and conflict to obesity and road safety, are ultimately about human behavior, and so is the protecting of our planet. When we are talking about the behavior change, many times we have seen that people think that there is this distance bias, that okay, the things will be going to happen in 20 years, in 30 years, nothing is happening now. But at the same time, we should understand that the relative invisibility of climate change in our life relegates the crisis to a problem for distant generations. Most of us simply don't have the time, diligence, or scientific knowledge necessary to decode the complex, interconnected details that make up the climate crisis. Biases aren't always a bad thing. They are tools that have kept our species alive for many years. When we're talking about the distance bias, we might forecast that in 50 years or in 20 years or maybe in 10 years, something bad will happen to the environment, and not today. So we are not willing to scrap the things which will be going to affect our future. Next is that we need to connect emotionally to the future. Now, in this, what we can do, we might think of, we can imagine that when we are in 2050, we are approaching toward the later years of our life, and our children, they will be growing up. They will be going to start their career, their family. Now imagine the catastrophic effects of unaddressed climate change, including skyrocketing food prices and extreme weather events, destroying their life milestones. This perspective taking allows us to connect emotionally to the future and simultaneously invokes instincts for protection and to take the steps which are required to protect our future. It gives us a direct channel to care more and feel like we have a responsibility to act on behalf of someone or something we love. Then the next is the demonstration of why 1.5 degree matters. To most, people will think, okay, 1.5 degree temperature will be going to increase and it will not be going to affect us. What we can do, we can start more use of cooling appliances, etc. But here I want to give you an example. आप सोचिए कि आइसक्रीम जो है वो अगर उसका फ्रीजिंग पॉइंट बिलो 1 डिग्री और हम उसको बाहर निकालते हैं फ्रिज से जहाँ पे उसको 1 डिग्री से ज्यादा टेम्परेचर उसको मिलता है, वो मेल्ट होना शुरू हो जाएगी आइसक्रीम। एंड पीपल विल से कि ठीक है आइसक्रीम को हम वापस फ्रिज में रख देंगे और वो फ्रीज हो जाएगी, फिर से हम उसको यूज कर सकते हैं, बट नहीं। The time it was out of the fridge from that particular temperature, bacteria grows in it when it is melted and it is unsafe to eat. And also the ice cream's structure will change. Similarly, our ecosystem is full of one-way boundaries, sensitive to small temperature changes. Warmer springs trigger birds to migrate from one place to other before the plants they eat have sprouted, leaving them to starve. So if someone laughs off 1.5 degree of global warming and telling that use more cooling appliances, you can use the example like this to change their frame of reference. Next is start thinking of losing your favorite things. So with the rise in temperature, the things which we are using, it will be going to have an impact on water also. Water which we are using very conveniently, which we are getting for drinking, bathing, or other purposes. More than 5 billion people will have inadequate access to water by 2050. And this was the study done by World Meteorological Organization. So the elements which are very dear to us, we will be going to lose them in future. Therefore, behavior change is required. And for this, there are the certain steps which can be used, which we can follow. The first is the persuade, where we persuade the people, then motivate them. After motivating them to bring behavior change or to start change in their behavior, now the next is the process of socialize. And lastly is they are at ease and will be going to work with the new behavior which they have acquired through these stages. So behavior economics, social and cognitive psychology, which is collectively known as behavioral science, demonstrate how to apply these insights to improve the design of campaigns, community interventions, financial incentives, and policy reforms. In taking a holistic approach to human behavior, we need to highlight the importance of conscious as well as non-conscious behavior, the importance of individuals as well as social groups, and the importance of people's choices, and also the physical, cultural, and economic context. So we need to motivate the change, and for that, we need to leverage positive emotions. We need to frame messaging to personal values, identities, or interests. We need to personalize and humanize the messages. The cognitive biases where the person thinks that whatever he is doing or choose as per his convenience, we need to harness it. And we need to design behaviorally informed incentives. By socializing the change, we will be going to promote the desirable norm, and we will be going to harness the reciprocity. We will be going to increase the behavioral observability and accountability, so the people will be accountable for what they are doing, for their actions, and they will feel more responsible. Encourage public and peer-to-peer commitments, because we all are human animals, human social beings, we are being called as. We cannot live without group or without without being associated to any other human being. So the peer-to-peer commitments will be going to boost up these behavior changes. Choose the right messenger to flow your or to communicate the message, or to tell the people that what kind of behavior they require to change. Last stage, as was shown in the diagram, was ease the change. That is, make it easy by removing frictions. Like if someone is using jute bag, or they are not drinking in the plastic bottle, they are taking the glass to, that is the their stainless steel glass to the office. Don't आप उनका मजाक मत उड़ाइए. You should start promoting the substitutes. Provide support with planning and implementation of intentions. Simplify messages and decisions so that they will be going to be accepted by more and more people, and these people will further will be going to motivate other people in the society. Alter the choice setting. Use timely moments, prompts and reminders so that the people keep on, through social media, or in your office meetings, just keep on telling the people, or at home, to use less water, or to handle the waste carefully. The behavior centered design journey, there are various phases in this. The first stage is frame, then to empathize, then to map, then to ideate, then prototype, then test, launch, assess. This particular was followed by Tina-backed municipality in Philippines, and where the population of 65,000 people used to live, and their main occupation was fishing. So they were facing this major problem as because the main occupation was fishing. So 80 to 90% of local fishers, they use cyanide and dynamite to stun and kill fish. And it was common for locals to hear 15 to 20 blasts a day. So in 2010, they started with the help of a local NGO, they started reconsidering or initiating the behavior change in the community. They focus on 4 key target behaviors. Fishers become registered. Fishers, they participate in community management, and they record and use cache data for management decision making. And they fish with the right gear in the right place at the right time. So the first stage, when we are talking about the frame, here we have to design a behavior-centered solutions that begins with appropriate framing of the conservation challenge to understand the target behavior, target audience, and describe their context. This narrows the scope of the conservation objectives to focus specifically on the behaviors and the audiences engaged in those behaviors that will meaningfully impact the desired outcomes. The second stage is empathize. Before beginning to design any behavior-centered intervention, we need to gain deep insight about the target audience, क्योंकि जब तक हम अपने audience जिनका हमें behavior change करना है या जिनके साथ हमें ये work करना है, जब तक हम उन्हें नहीं understand करेंगे, we will not be able to put up our plan, whatever we have done the planning, हमारा implementation of the plan will not be proper. So the successful efforts depend critically on the ability to meet people where they are so as to understand them much better, reaching them in ways that are meaningful to them, not necessarily the intervention designer. So this begins by deploying a mixed method approach where we need to go into the field where the people are there on which we are working to make the behavior change. We need to include observation, interviews, focus groups, and questionnaire surveys so as to develop an empathetic lens through which to view the target audience. Next stage is map. Now we have gathered, after gathering the data, we have the sufficient data as on whom we have to do the behavior change, what kind of their concerns are. Now it is the time in the map stage, in the third map stage, we have to analyze and organize it in a way that helps to reveal key behavioral insights on which to base your intervention. Specifically, this step draws out and shows the relationships between the behavioral motivations and challenges related to your target behavior. That is where there is potential to motivate, socialize, or ease the change. Developing a holistic hypothesis about your target audience behavior will lead to more effective intervention. The fourth stage is ideate. Now, in this step, it is time to brainstorm. You need to think again and again, as you have to go through various ideas. आपको काफी सारे ideas इसमें, based on your findings, you have to generate them. So here, this is the stage where the strategies for applying behavioral science outline ideate starts with brainstorming a list of ideas that correspond to intersection points or key insights from the behavior map. And then combining all these ideas and prioritizing them on the base of what are your resources or what is the need of the population in which you are going to initiate the behavior change. So the question here is mostly solved is how might we bring change. The next stage is prototype. Now, based on the best intervention which you have selected, you have to bundle of among the best idea, among the bundle of ideas, you develop a prototype that is a small scale version that captures its essential features. By creating a small scale version of your intervention, you can experiment and estimate its success without investing a lot of resources. One of ideas, like for example, I can show you, I have put it in the slide, the community which I was talking about in Philippines, they came up with this particular idea. They created a mascot who could popularize the ideal fisher who adopted the 4 behaviors called profile. And they have designated the fisher as profile. Profile means professional fisher in their own terms. They have used it. And they have said that we are calling you professional because most of the people, those who are working in offices or going to the corporate, they call themselves professional. Or even in academics, if we are talking about, they call themselves professors. So as they should consider themselves valuable what they are doing. And the livelihood in which they are occupied, they should be proud of that, as well as the entire community should be proud. So rather than calling them as a fishing community, they were called as profile. And profile represented a sustainable fisher identity for them, and it demonstrated the appropriate managed access behaviors publicly. So this mascot was also created to motivate them and to showcase it in various, the cultural events which happened there. So when they became registered, and also the registration was done, they became the professional fishers. And now this idea incorporated insights from the previous steps, like making fishing something to be proud and strengthening their sense that they are part of group, to give them a reason to cooperate for behavior change, making their behavior observable. Now, since everyone knew that these people are the profiles, so they were very being, people used to observe them. So there is a social benefit to doing it, and creating a memorable and simplified way to engage with the 4 key test behaviors. The next stage in this behavior centered design journey is, after prototype, is test. Now you have done on a small scale version, now you're going to test it. So before launching your intervention at a large scale, it is valuable to gain feedback from a few members of your target audience and then make revision, so that अगर कहीं पे बीच में mistake है आप उसको correct कर सकें. And testing can occur at multiple scales, from something as simple as rapid user feedback form or focus group discussion. Like for example, in this case, Profile Mascot, who appeared at community events, they started taking the feedback from the people. What do you think that if we call, if I am representing the fisher community of your place? So the people understand that with its early success, this will be going to be a good strategy and later on can be used in a full scale intervention. And after testing it, the launch of the idea can be done at a larger scale. When the intervention has been sufficiently tested and revised, it is time to launch at full scale. This might mean at the full audience or community-wide scale, as well as incorporating additional strategies from the ideate step. Early success with the Profile idea in a Timbackware was so promising that the Profile brand was quickly scaled across more sustainable fisheries management project sites in the Philippines, and where they are still being piloted today to encourage a wider set of behaviors. During this step, we also need to define metrics for evaluating, because if we have done the work, but if you're not assessing it or evaluating it, it will be going to be useless. So we can, when we are talking about the assessment, we can, for example, in this case, it could be focused on the relative health of the fishery community or profiles, or it could be the community pre and post intervention assessment. So intertwined with full-scale launch and implementation is the critical importance of assessing the impact of your intervention and reflecting on potential improvements. This step helps us know if behavior change is happening and to what degree, so we can share our success. But more importantly, we can adapt and revise the intervention as needed, particularly in a case like overfishing and sustainable fisheries management. Solving for a complex adaptive system means that the system itself and the behaviors that it influences are themselves continuously in flux. And remember, there is no single intervention which is going to be permanent and constant solution. One of the major success of this behavior center design journey will be that we need to keep on, assessing whatever the journey, whatever the implementation of the plan we have done, and accordingly, if it is suitable in the present time and if the changes are required, so accordingly we need to incorporate the changes also. Now, with this, in this particular case especially, the result of the profile campaign was that fish biomass increased from 33 tons to 55 tons in 4 years later. That is, first they measured it in 2011, and in the next measurement was done in 2016. So when we are talking about the pollution as controlling the pollution, we need to focus on the consumers. The consumers should be they should understand that they should use reusable instead of single-use materials, increase recycling of paper, plastics, and metals, consume less and fix reuse existing belongings, decrease demand for fossil fuels. When we are talking about the farmers, because we have seen that it also lead to pollution, the agricultural, the insecticides, the pesticides. So they need to reduce fertilizer and pesticide inputs to lessen runoff into water. Intercrop to maintain soil health and decrease erosion to maintain soil health or decrease in erosion. Restore degraded land to grow crops or native plants and prevent erosion. From the industry perspective, we need to comply with legislation about dumping chemical industrial effluent into drains and waterways. From the local government perspective, we need to provide sufficient waste collection and disposable services in public locations. So if we are worried about our future generation, as whether we want to hand over clean and green environment and sufficient water bodies as well as the natural resources, then we should preserve our natural resources for our future generation. And this should start from now. Like, we cannot wait for the next 20 to 30 or the coming years as we're going to, do, or we will do major planning. We can take rest now. Abhi to bahut time hai isko aane mein. So we cannot do like that. So that was all about my presentation. It was basically as how the behavior changes which we require can be incorporated and how it can be done in a step-wise way. And in my presentation, I have also discussed by giving a live example of a fisher community from Philippines where they did it and successfully still they are implementing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, we just took the chat box. So much nice words for you, and it was definitely nice. And so many claps, many
Thank you.
Lots of claps and thumbs up going up, ma'am. Really, it was amazing. And you're so right. What is it behavioral changes? हम अगर देख रहा है कि perspective को बदल लेंगे तो हम सच में plastic को कैसे सकते हैं? Amazing presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm thankful to you and all the participants also. Thank you so much.
And we always felt wrong, trust me. Even I was listening it very carefully. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time, and hope to see you at Welcome to that. Thank you so much, and so much emojis are going on my screen. So it was wonderful to have you with us, ma'am. Thank you so much and have a great day ahead. So with this, we come to the end of the third day of ISTTP-9. And again, I would like to tell all the participants the four things which are mandatory for you to get the certificate. First is the registration. Second is your home assignment. We have just circulated the home assignment in the groups. Please do submit all your home assignment by 19th of May. We are giving a bit more time because participants have asked us that they get less time. So this time we have kept it like 8 days, even after the training program is over. So please submit your home assignment. Mark your attendance daily because someone even asked me what is the link to mark attendance. There's no link to mark attendance. Google Meet is automatically marking your attendance. So do join, log in and attend the program. And the fourth thing, but not the least, not the last, is the feedback form. We will circulate one single feedback form. And please do fill that feedback form because your contributions are very, very important for us. So with this, we come to the end of ISTTP-9, the third day. I would like to thank all my keynote speakers who are wonderful people. They took out their time out of their busy schedule. They spoke to us. They did lovely presentations to share knowledge with us. So I'm very, very thankful to all of them. I'm very much thankful to you all, the participants. अगर आप नहीं होते तो ये प्रोग्राम कैसे होगा? So you all are lovely and beautiful people who always stay with us for 3 hours every day. आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. With this, so nothing more to say. I'll see you again tomorrow at 10:45. Your host, Dr. Mamta Sharma, and trust me, your presence and my keynote speakers, they make this train go. So with this, we are closing off the meeting of today. We are meeting tomorrow at 10:45 sharp. So this is Dr. Mamta Sharma signing off from Rajashri College. आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Have a wonderful day. जो भी बचा हुआ दिन आपका शुभ हो, आप स्वस्थ रहें, मस्त रहें. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Can you have the video, please?